Hello everyone, I am Nandini Bhattacharya. I am currently pursuing PhD at the Department of Linguistics, University of Delhi. Today the topic of my presentation is Semantics of Numeral Reduplication in Bangla. Introduction. This presentation aims to formally address the widely debated issue of quantification in natural language semantics, focusing on mainly the structure of reduplicative numeral quantification in Bangla. The feature of reduplication is a prominent linguistic feature that is found in South Asian languages. The process of reduplication is a morphological process where the root or stem of a word is repeated exactly or repeated with partial modifications in a phrase or a sentence. Reduplication includes full reduplication, partial reduplication, and echo formation. This linguistic feature applies to all kinds of constituents, that is nominal reduplication, adjectival reduplication, verbal reduplication, etc. Though the theory of reduplication is morphologically grounded, this phenomenon is indeed observed to be semantically loaded, and it is also used as a device to perform many grammatical functions in natural language. Reduplication can either be full reduplication or partial reduplication. Sometimes intonation or tonal patterns of the reduplicated roots or stems also alter in the process that can be evident in many of the Tibeto-Burman languages. In case of Bangla, the reduplicative numerals are sometimes fully as well as partially reduplicated and seldom without any intonation modification. This present study inquires to adequately analyze distributive quantification in Bangla with special attention to how the numerals, mostly cardinal numbers in Bangla, are reduplicated in Bangla to encode distributivity, distributive plurality, and additional semantic properties. In the last section of this presentation, the reduplicative numerals are also analyzed as productional markers that act as plurality filters. Review of literature. The formal study of quantification and its logical dimensions have been a widely debated issue in formal semantics as well as in syntactic theories. The formalization of the properties of quantified operators is standardized by Parvez and Cooper's 1981 arguments on weak and strong quantification in the generalized quantifier theory. May 1978-1990 addresses the issue of the syntactic structure of quantification, whereas Zabocchi 2015 analyzes the treatment of the quantifier particles in natural language. Moreover, the semantic perspectives on the cardinal and proportional quantification is put forward by Party 2002. In addition to that, the issue of the treatment of plurality, particularly distributive plurality in natural language, is an ongoing research area that is being addressed in contemporary semantics. Exibaria and Gianakadu 2019 inquires into the aspects of definiteness and plurality. Moltmann 2016 looks into plural reference. Winter and Schwa 2015 and Thieu and Romoli 2019 examine the semantic predicate structure and scope of plurals. However, these arguments have not adequately addressed the phenomenon relating to the different strategies of encoding quantification and plurality in South Asian languages, Abbey 1985, Balusu 2006, etc. Reduplication is a prominent feature in South Asian linguistics that occurs in all of the different major groups of language families. These reduplicative constructions have a varied range of properties and semantic mappings. Abbey 1985 proposes that there are four semantic features that are majorly represented by nominal reduplication in South Asian languages. These encoded semantic features are definitiveness, distributiveness, emphasis, exclusive, and discrete timed nominals. Abbey claims that only the distributive feature is found in Bangla nominal reduplications. According to Abbey 1992, these are several instances of reduplication in many South Asian languages. For example, Sindhi verbal reduplication, halande halande while going, Nepali eco reduplication, Gorum, Gurum, thundering sounds, etc. Likewise, reduplication is also used occasionally in everyday languages in India. The Tibeto-Burman language examples are the following: reduplication of adjectives in hoi hoi, good good in Paite, and adverbial reduplication thun thun, fast fast in Meiteilon. According to Balisu 2006 in Telugu as well as in some of the other Dravidian languages, for example Kannada, Tamil and Malayalam, reduplication of numerals gives rise to distributive readings. In Telugu, the distributive key may be inferred from the context provided that this results in a cognitive natural partition. Cable 2014. Thus, the Telugu sentence in one allows an implicitly inferred temporal key reading. This phenomenon is illustrated with the different kinds of distributive readings that are possible for this sentence. These kids saw two monkeys. The above examples show that the reduplicative numeral construction gives rise to distributive readings. There are no collective readings of a reduplicated numeral constructions. So here the numeral 2 is repeated to give this distributive reading. Reduplicated numerals and distributivity. In this presentation, I put forward a partly formalized account for the distributive plurality, Sampolian 2019, that is expressed in some of the reduplicative numeral phrases in Bangla. Plurality in languages is expressed in two ways, that is collective plurality and distributive plurality. For collective plurality, the range of variables is limited or restricted by clausal conditionals. In English, the words like many, couple, together, etc. express collective plurality in sentences. Distributive plurality denotes the possible range of the variable over all or over of most possible words. There are many strategies that are used by languages to encode distributivity. In Bangla, the reduplicated numerals occur as a distributive operator. According to Champollion 2019, the term distributivity has been applied to a variety of phenomena in natural languages. All of them have in common that a predicate is applied to the members of subset of a group or set or to the parts of a plurality, and also the distributive markers can belong to multiple syntactic categories. The reduplicated numeral phrases that encode distributivity, we get the distributive reading that is not present in their non-distributive occurrences. The existing literature on distributivity examines the distributive operator that captures temporal distributivity, event distributivity, and some extent intensification of an action. These are the types of distributivity. In this presentation, it can be observed that reduplicative numerals in Bangla are strategically used to encode implicit quantification and distributive plurality and also focus. However, not all kinds of reduplicative numerals encode distributive plurality. They also express the semantic feature of exclusivity, focus, productionality, etc. The interaction between reduplicative numerals with focus, productionals, distributivity are also discussed in this presentation with the examples. So these are the examples of reduplicative numerals in Bangla. এই পাড়ার সব বাড়িতে চার চারটে গাড়ি আছে. There are 4 cars in each of the houses in this neighborhood. In this example, the cardinal number 4 is repeated and reduplicated to give rise to the distributive reading, which also encodes cumulative quantification. In another example, সব দেশে এক একটা বড় নদী আছে, meaning there are at least one big river in every country. Here the cardinal number is reduplicated in this numeral phrase to encode distributivity, and it also takes scope over the universal quantifier shop. Reduplicated numerals and focus. Moreover, this paper presents the issue of focus as encoded in reduplicative numerals in Bangla. In this presentation, I examine the structure and semantic content of the various reduplicated numeral phrases and its relation to implicit focus in Bangla, as can be observed in the following examples. Rani tin tinte jama kineche. Here, the sentence, there is a stress on the number phrase Rani tin tinte jama kineche, meaning Rani has bought 3 dresses, which is a surprise. to the listener. রামের 4 ঘোড়া আছে জানিস কি তুই? Meaning, do you know that Ram owns 4 cars? So here the reduplicative numerals encode implicit focus, and these don't include only distributiveness, and these are not distributive, do not give distributive reading. In this example, শত শত সাম্রাজ্যের ভগ্নাশেষ পরে ওরা কাজ করে, meaning they continues to work over the ruins of hundreds of empires. In this extract from the poem, the reduplicated numeral শত শত, meaning 100, gives encodes both the focus, implicit focus, and also the distributive reading. In the previous examples, the reduplicative numeral constructions denote implicit focus by encoding further information implicitly. In example 4, the focus encodes the speaker's attitude to excessiveness, and in example 5, the focus is on the surprise and exclamation expressed by the speaker. In the example 6, the distributivity is signaled by the quantification over infinite time and place by the reduplicative numerals. The focus is implicitly marked as the variable sets of the possible world W ranges over the infinite set of domains D, meaning many of the empires. So it can be observed that in Bangla, reduplicative numerals not only denote plurality but are also triggered by focus. Reduplicated numerals and productionality. Moreover, in this presentation, I account for the occurrences of reduplicated numerals as productionals. Donaldson and Mole 2015, Wilmot 2019. According to Kuhn 2019, there are a wide range of ways to include plurality in natural languages. In languages as diverse as Hungarian, Telugu, and Caucasian Mayan, it is possible to communicate this dependency by reduplicating a number 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, etc. Distributive numerals and productional verbs pattern to different syntactic categories and different semantic domains. Distributive numerals generally modify noun phrases DP to indicate a plurality of entities or objects, whereas productional morphemes modify verb phrases to indicate a plurality of events. Generalized quantifiers and adverbial each are pluralizing operators that sum atomic objects into plural objects. In contrast to this, productional verbs and distributive numerals act as plurality filters. Kuhn 2017 has illustrated this phenomenon with the following examples. In example A, every day Jean forgot one word. So this example sentence yield two possible meaning, that Jean must forget many words or one word every day. But in the example B, Jean forgot one word repeatedly. Here the meaning that is coming out of it is Jean forgot one word repeatedly. But in example A, the meaning is ambiguous between two possible readings. So this similar phenomenon can be exemplified in the Bangla sentences. In the following example illustrates this phenomenon. দুটো দুটো করে রুটি দাও, একসাথে সব দিও না. Meaning, give 2 breads at one turn, do not give all at once. So here we can observe that the reduplicative numerals are quantifying over the verb phrase or quantifying over the event and yielding many numerous subatomic events of giving 2 breads at one turn. And an example, the next example, কাল থেকে কল দিয়ে দুফোঁটা করে জল পড়ছে, meaning since yesterday 2 drops of water are falling from the tap. Here also this reduplicated numerous constructions are quantifying over the total event and yielding many subatomic events. But in the previous example, দুটো করে রুটি, here we are the meaning is ambiguous between two kinds of breads. If it is similar kinds of breads are given, or two kinds of breads are given at a time, it is not clear. But in the next example, the kind of the entity which it is quantifying over is the similar, it is same, that is plain water. But the previous example, the productionality is also giving yield to both plural events and also distributive cumulative reading of the two kinds of breads. In this above examples, the event sequence and productionality is expressed by reduplicating the numerals. Here it can be observed that reduplicated numerals in Bangla can sometimes also be used as a linguistic tool to include plurality inference of distributive numerals over the event sequence, and also quantifying the cardinality of the elements of the events or sub-events, and also yields ambiguous reading. The reduplicated numeral here acts as distributive operator, and it denotes the set of singular plural events involving a subset of the original set of the cardinality of the X, that is the entity or the object. It indicates an event recurring over time. These events must involve the same cardinality on each occasion, but that is not, the domain is restricted, but the type of the entity is not restricted to a singular kind. It can be different kinds also. A production marker may specify additional properties of the event. For example, the distributive numeral specifies the number of entities or objects of type ET involved in each sub-event. So we have come to the conclusions. In conclusion, this paper highlights the distributive effects of reduplicated numerals in Bangla. Bangla reduplicative quantification is an eminent strategy of quantification. Reduplicated numerals form an intrinsic pattern that is capable of encoding different kinds of plurality, most importantly distributive plurality. The reduplicated numerals do not occur as a compound word, but rather as under the DP at the QP, quantified phrase or number phrase node, where both of the constituents are raised to and modified by case markers or classified, as Bengali is a well-known classified language. The reduplicated numeral phrases in Bangla not only express distributive plurality but also they encode focus and productionality. Therefore, the semantic structure of the reduplicative numerals in Bangla is an interesting issue that yields some multi-layered features and implicit interpretations, and there is a large scope for further research in this domain. So these are the selected references that I have referred to for my study. Thank you for the opportunity.
Hi Nandini, thank you for the talk. I have two questions. One is that can you reduplicate phrases that have this component share, something like share teen or something like that? Is that possible? And if not, what do you think could be the reason? And I have another question, but I could ask it after we discuss this if you want.
Well, share teen are partitives, that is 3.5.
Right.
And I am looking at the cardinal numbers, which are whole numbers, and that are reduplicated. But Shadetinte is partitives. I have not looked at partitive reduplication here.
Okay, so does half itself get reduplicated in Bangla? Something like adhe adhe or something like that? Or quarter, half, or date.
If I'm saying that you have to divide this into, I can say that এই কেকটা আধা আধা ভাগ করে নাও বা অর্ধেক অর্ধেক ভাগ করে নাও. So we can say that, but this will be termed as not distributive reading, but as productionals that are like quantifying over the event.
Right. So and the classifier is not obligatory in those constructions at all, because I noticed that classifier was obligatory in all the reduplicated numerals that you examples that you gave, and the half example that you just discussed, there was no classifier. So just want to confirm that as well.
because we are saying that a cake ta is already there as the classifier অর্ধেক অর্ধেক করে ভাগ করে নাও here the this reduplicated partitive is not quantifying over the cake but actually quantifying over the event of dividing.
Okay.
So these are this is different. For reduplicative numerals, it is actually quantifying over the entities like char charte gari. So here
Right.
the constructions are different.
Right. Okay. And the second question that I have would be, do you think there is some constraint as to what kind of numeral expressions can be reduplicated? I imagine that something like 3,500 or something like that cannot be reduplicated, but you can reduplicate show as in 100, or I think dosha as well. So, do you think there is some constraint that governs what sort of numeral constructions can be reduplicated and what cannot be?
Yes, there is some favorability of the numeral construction that is from 1 to 4 that are the first acquired languages, first acquired cardinality of the child language acquisition. So these
Right.
are the numbers that are most favored. But when I am going for this 10, 20, 200, 1000, so these numbers are are more favored.
Okay. 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 Thank you. Thank you for the talk.
I have a question, Nandini. Tell me one thing for this reduplicated numerals. Does it indicate only distributiveness or it can indicate something else as well?
Yes, sir. So that's what I wanted to present today, that this indicates distributiveness, but as well as this also indicates cumulative reading and also indicate focus and also indicate productionals. So these are also the different semantic features that it can encode other than distributivity.
Okay. Did you try to make some kind of a comparison with what happens in other Indo-Aryan language to begin with?
No, not yet. I'm only looking at Bengali right now with a little comparison to Hindi.
Yeah. So I think it is going to be the same thing across the Indo-Aryan languages, and I think you will find the same kind of semantic functions for all of the pages that you find in Bangla, and I think you should look at it maybe at a later stage.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Good.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.